Welcome to Game 8 Reviews.
Greetings everyone! For today's video, Game 8 Reviews will revisit the streets of Gotham to review Batman Arkham Knight. This action-adventure game was released back in June 23, 2015 for PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and Windows. It is the fourth installment of Rocksteady Studios' Arkham series, which marks the end of the Cape Crusaders' conquest to rid Gotham of crime. Time has passed since its release, so we are going to go deep into spoiler territory. Without further ado, let's take another look at Batman Arkham Knight. Taking place 9 months after the death of the Joker and the destruction of Arkham City, Batman must stop Scarecrow from releasing a deadly chemical that will engulf Gotham City with fear, while at the same time battling the consequences of his actions. This time around, we delve deeper in Batman's psyche, as he struggles with his principles challenged by the mysterious Arkham Knight, who appears to know more than he lets on. As a cherry on the top of Batman's long Halloween, sinister villains like Penguin, Two-Face, Harlequin, and the Riddler serve as obstacles that the Batman must overcome throughout the game. Much like Scarecrow working with Gotham's worst, Batman is aided by the Bat family to bring order to their crumbling city throughout the game. These characters play off each other quite well, which makes their history more apparent. Comic book fans will gush over how faithful the story is to the comics, while at the same time introducing a fresh take on character lore that will hook casual gamers. The fan-favorite Batman under the Red Hood is a clear inspiration, but with a clear twist that mainstream audiences can follow. Both fans and newcomers will see the twists from a mile away given the emphasis on the-nose foreshadowing in the game. Furthermore, a lot of the game's side characters, namely Scarecrow and Arkham Knight, were benched so that the spotlight would go to Batman and the Joker.
Miss me.
The game could have used these characters even further if they had a lot more to do in the story. Completing the game may not be an issue for some, as it roughly takes 16 to 29 hours of gameplay to reach the ending. However, players wishing to achieve 100% completion must allot more or less 46 hours of gameplay. This includes Jim Gordon's narration to bring the story to a full circle. Rocksteady delivered an immersive but flawed experience in this title. The feeling of becoming Batman is reinforced in every facet of the game, as players will be forced to adapt to the situation using a myriad of gadgets, and increasingly formidable enemies to progress through the game as much as Batman does in the comics. The free-flowing combat first introduced in Arkham Asylum is retained, and even improved upon with the addition of new gadgets and creative takedown. Fighting enemies is made even easier for beginners by simply pointing your left stick towards a target. The combat never becomes stale as enemies begin using different weapons, which force players to rethink their strategies. We cannot tell you how satisfying it is to clear out a room full of enemies using both the Fear multi-takedown and the environmental takedown, which fully reinforces the idea that you are the Batman. The inclusion of the multi-fear takedown, wherein Batman takes up to 6 foes in a swift chain, made the stealth missions a whole lot more engaging. Plus, incorporating various objects like searchlights, lamps, or electric fuse boxes in combat makes it easier to defeat enemies in large numbers. On top of that, players can now drive through the mean streets of Gotham with the Batmobile. Inspired by the Tumbler from the Nolan trilogy, the Batmobile can ram through vehicles or convert into a tank to destroy various types of drones. Although traveling through the city and battling tanks in the Batmobile is entertaining, this is where the game suffers as it over-relies on this feature, which makes the gameplay feel tedious at times. Players will be repeatedly forced to platform across rooftops using the vehicle just to open doors or activate computers. The tank battles are fun, but these segments eventually lose their appeal due to their monotonous nature. Yes, you do get different types of drones that add a level of difficulty, and weapon upgrades as you progress through the story, but it does not add variety as the Predator missions do. To make matters worse, you'll have to race through Riddler tracks that progressively become irritating as you close in on the Riddler. The traps become more elaborate with spinning blades, collapsing ceilings, and narrow tracks making the Batmobile difficult to maneuver, thus exhausting the time limit. Plus, you get to hear Riddler's infuriating remarks that really just makes your blood boil.
Have you noticed, Batman? The walls of inevitability are closing in.
In contrast, Rocksteady incorporated dual play as one of its new features. Players can seamlessly switch characters in the middle of a battle in missions involving Catwoman, Robin, or Nightwing. This makes combat more fluid as you perform combos and switch characters mid-combo to add length and variety to your chains. Plus, the character interaction that goes along with this mechanic made the gameplay all the more entertaining.
Such a gentleman.
Batman Arkham Knight is breathtakingly gorgeous. From the first frame until the last, Rocksteady truly brought their A-game for their last hurrah. Resting on gargoyles as you look down on an imploding city is truly cinematic. The constant downpour of rain highlights both the city's features and character designs that bring out all the details of their costumes and facial features. Arkham Knight detracts from the surreal designs of the first 3 games for a more realistic and believable aesthetic, which makes this game even more mesmerizing and captivating, not to mention its cinematic camera movements that make these iconic characters appear larger than life. Both the story and gameplay are complemented by the superb performance of the cast. Batman the Animated Series voice actor Kevin Conroy truly embodies the character with his menacing and at times compelling delivery, making this arguably one of Conroy's best performances in his legendary career as Batman.
I am the Batman.
Opposite Conroy is John Noble, who plays Scarecrow. Noble brings a sense of terror and gravitas in his delivery, making Scarecrow sound more threatening.
All that remains is for you to watch as I drag your beloved Gotham into oblivion.
Troy Baker, who probably stole the show, voices Arkham Knight, also known as, spoilers, Jason Todd. Similar to Conroy, this has to be one of his best roles yet. Baker's performance as the ex-Robin brings out the trauma and pain his character suffered at the hands of Mark Hamill's Joker.
I trusted you, and you just left me to die!
All the emotion brought out by the script and acting is further highlighted by Nick Arundel and David Buckley's score. The music creates a sense of dread and finality that perfectly complements the themes of the game.
You've been a good friend. The best I could ask for. You were there at the beginning. And now, you get to see how it ends.
Every time the Batmobile flies over a ramp or Batman finishes off an enemy, the music swells up, making every moment feel like an epic scene from a movie. Although Batman Arkham Knight suffers from a handful of flaws in both narrative and gameplay, it does not diminish the fact that it remains a solid entry to the Arkham series. Rocksteady produced an epic conclusion for the Dark Knight's quest to save Gotham from its notorious rogues, while at the same time introducing gameplay mechanics that have opened doors for future superhero game properties. Arkham Knight exceeds its predecessors in many aspects, and yet falls short of being the best title in the series, due to its predictable story and monotonous Batmobile features. Even so, Arkham Knight's talented cast and fluid combat system make this game enjoyable and immersive. We here at Game8 give this game an 8 out of 10.